Thank you, Patrick. It's always nice to have you and your fiddle here. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. My name is Rebecca Howard. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a worship associate for the congregation. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your image of the holy, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. If this is your first time with us, we'd love to get to know you. Please sign our guest sign-in book in the foyer. You can also speak with our greeter, Mike McNaughton, or myself. I'm the chairperson of the membership committee, or Reverend Tina DeYoe for more information about our church. If you're watching online, hello. We are glad you are with us. Virtually, please sign our virtual guest book that is in the notes below the worship video. You can also sign our virtual prayer book if you have a joy or sorrow to share with our community. We have our candles of community over here and in the back. You're invited to come. We're just fixing the volume. Yeah. Is it all right? Is it too loud? Is it good? It's perfect? Okay, good. You're invited to come up during the first hymn or now or any time before the prayer time to light a candle, write a joy or sorrow in the book, which is only at the front. We have lots of worship options for young children. We have our activity table, which is very busy. Kids can stay seated with their parents or caregivers. We have our library quiet room, and our nursery is down the hall for kids 0 to 3 years old. Today, kids will not leave after the time for all ages. They'll be staying in the service because what we're talking about applies to everyone today. Please feel free to talk with Terra Louise, our Director of Lifespan Spiritual Enrichment, for more information about our spiritual enrichment programs for all ages. Announcements. Church announcements can be read weekly through your email, can also be found on our website, and some announcements can be found in the back of your worship program, order of service, and Mike is handing out a sheet of upcoming events if you would like to have it in print. I also try to post some of those on our Facebook page. I try to get them all there, but I'm not always successful. Please go ahead and silence your cell phones this morning as we begin our worship service together. Today we're highlighting a few announcements. After our worship service today in the fellowship hall, we'll have cake and we'll begin crafting our congregational covenant together. All ages can help in our covenant creation process. In addition to cake, there's some snacks in the sort of reflection of our new UU shared values. It's very clever, thanks to Felicia. This Wednesday, March 5th at 3 p.m., you can join the caring committee and Reverend Tina for tea and conversation in the fellowship hall. And hopefully your calendars are already marked, but if not, mark them now. Our church canvas dinner will be next Saturday, March 8th at 5 p.m. Childcare is available. Ellen Mills is here today in the back there, and you can give her your verbal RSVP today in the fellowship hall after the service. And I think, we have one last announcement from Anna Delane.
Good morning. I am Anna Delane. I use she, her pronouns. The announcement that you see on the screen was in our announcements that went out, but I wanted to personalize this a little bit and just sort of make it a little bit more accessible, maybe. Have you ever in your life witnessed someone being victimized? Have you been in a situation that made you feel afraid? Have you felt your boundaries being crossed? Have you been afraid that you were about to be? I'll let you fill in the blank. We are conditioned, especially as women, my own conditioning has been to keep the peace, don't say anything, don't make him mad. And as it turns out, that's not an effective strategy. So some years ago, I took a class with Resolve New Mexico, which is the organization that this is about. And it was about how do you deal with that situation so that it doesn't escalate. And the skills that I learned turned me from being somebody who lived in fear to being somebody who's a little bit like, go ahead, this will be fun. And so this 4-hour workshop that we're trying to bring to the congregation can take 16 people, and it's 4 hours that could change your life. It could help you to go from a person who avoids conflict to a person who says, I can handle it. And if somebody's doing something inappropriate, it teaches you how to look at what they're doing and say, stop that, and use words to de-escalate the situation. It is an amazing program that Resolve does. We can take up to 16 people. At this point, what we're doing is gauging interest. So this registration form that the QR link leads to is just to put down, hey, I would be interested in that, or me and a friend from school maybe would be interested in that, or I know somebody who would really benefit from that, maybe somebody you know who's been bullied or has had some issues. And so once we get enough interest, we'll start looking at when can we do this. We'll also start looking at how the cost is going to break down. The maximum cost it would be, I believe, is $75 a person for the 4-hour workshop, but there are scholarships available. There's ways we can make this work. So I would love to fill this class and maybe many more. So please follow that. Tell anyone you know that you think would be benefit from it. Thank you.
And 13 and older.
Oh, 13 and older, ages 13 and older. If there was interest in another class, talk to me for younger kids, because we can do that too.
Thank you, Anna. I would now invite us all to greet our neighbors by introducing yourself. It is still COVID, cold, and flu season, and if you'd rather just wave at people instead of shaking hands, that's okay. And I will ring the chime to call us back. So, good morning.
Want me to ring it? Okay. It's me, and then you. Yeah. Good morning. I'm the Reverend Tina DeYoe. I use she, her pronouns, and I welcome you to the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos this morning. We gather in worship to find meaning and to live more deeply. Worship creates connections within, among, and beyond us, calling us to live with wisdom and compassion, calling us to be our better selves. Our church theme, it's March, so our theme is switching. Our church theme for March is trust. So today we gather together in this circle of love and trust. And today we will begin the creation of our congregational covenant, which is an exercise in trust. We Unitarian Universalists covenant together, meaning we trust one another, rooted in the values that we uphold as community members. We trust the process, and we trust what is possible together as community. So let us gather in worship together this morning as we do an exercise of trust today, creating covenant. And we will light our chalice
Yes, Ian, you want to come on up? Ian is our chalice lighter this morning. And our words for the chalice lighting are by the Reverend Elizabeth Wynn. Just Wynn. It's a lot of letters for just Wynn. To be a Unitarian Universalist means we'll never be done with the work. Thank you, Ian. The work of telling the truth about oppression, the work of resisting any laws, policies, or practices that deny anyone their humanity. The work of stubbornly seeking out the spark of the divine in each other, no matter what. The work of creating heaven on earth. To be a Unitarian Universalist also means we're not alone in the work. We are not alone because of our promises to love one another. We are not alone because we are companions on the journey. We grow ourselves into allies, helping one another get free. Because none of us is truly free until we are all free. Let us now stand in body and or spirit and sing our opening hymn, number 361.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve life in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. Thus do we covenant with each and with all. You may be seated. So I would like to invite all the young and young at heart to come up to our young worshipers space for a time for all ages story today. All right, hello, y'all. Wait, here we go. So, how many of you know what covenant is? Have any of you made a covenant, maybe in your world blessings class? Do you guys know what that word covenant means? Does anyone have any ideas? Thoughts? Anyone up here? Yeah, Elizabeth? Agreement? Okay, yep. It's a promise. Yeah, some promises we make to each other, right? You guys, I know those people that you guys have done that World Blessings class, you created a covenant in there, right? Mm-hmm. Some promises you made. Yeah, I saw it on a poster in there. Y'all did do that, I saw. I know, okay.
why do you think we need a covenant here in our church classes and in our church community? What are some things that are good about having a covenant?
Why do you think we need it? What do you think?
You can call out from out there, too. To feel included.
To make sure people feel included. Yeah. Make sure people feel safe, right? Yeah.
What if somebody hurts our feelings?
Yeah, if someone hurts our feelings, how do we deal with it, right? And that's kind of what our covenant could say, how we deal with it, right? How we respect each other, right?
Yeah. Also, so we can have fun together.
How we have fun together, right? Yeah, so we can have fun together, too. And we can cook together, and we don't have to swing knives at each other in the cooking class.
We're still
That's probably a good one to work on in our covenants, right? Let's not swing knives at each other.
And also with our theme for the month that goes with practicing trust and learning to trust each other and figuring out how to build that trust.
So, how many of you know some of the words in our Unitarian Universalist covenant? Does anyone remember what's at the center of being a Unitarian Universalist? Yeah, Althea?
Yeah.
Love. Love is at the center. Ding, ding, ding. You are correct. So I also have a helper here who's going to help us remember these other words that we covenant around as Unitarian Universalists. Wait, let me get my helper. Hold on. This is J. Piglet. And J. Piglet is going to help us remember our covenant words as Unitarian Universalists. So, J. Piglet, their pronouns are they and them, and they would like to tell us what each letter in their name stands for. J. Piglet. You see J. Piglet up there.
There's J. Piglet. So here we go. J. Piglet. J is for justice. This means we work for a better world for everyone, and we use our democratic process to make decisions that will guide us to a diverse, beloved community. P is for pluralism. Pluralism means more than one way. We celebrate that we have many sources that inspire us, and we make room for different cultures, experiences, and beliefs. I is for interdependence. Interdependence means that we are all connected, people, creatures, and our planet, and we honor them all by taking care of them. G is for generosity. Generosity means that we have giving hearts, that we share what we have, and that we practice being grateful. L is at the center because L is for love, and love is the center of our values. E is for equity, which means working for peaceful and fair world. Equity means we all get to have it. And T is for transformation. Transformation means we keep growing and learning together and know that this will change us.
Oh, but J. Piglet is saying something to me. Hold on. Oh, J. Piglet says that all these values are just words unless we live them out in the world, right? They're just words if we don't live them out. And that we should always remember that they are powered by one thing, and Althea said it, love, right? So that is what J. Piglet just told me. Wait, hold on. J. Piglet says that they will live here at our church to help us remember these values, and that we will see them around here. So you might see J. Piglet once in a while around our church. And you can see that J. Piglet has a heart on their heart. Because a rainbow heart, right? So J. Piglet also invites you, and you may have seen all of those colorful papers on your table. J. Piglet invites you to create this covenant flower. You see it? So you can create that now at the activity table. So J. Piglet says you can create that and take it home, and you'll know your UU values. And Jay Piglet also invites you into the fellowship hall after the service for cake. Yay! And to help create our own, what we're going to do is we're going to create our own Unitarian Church of Los Alamos congregation covenant, okay? So Jay Piglet invites you to go in there and create our covenant together. So now, feel free to go back to your activity table and create your covenant flower today. Thanks for coming up.
So we'll move to our offering. Today's offering goes to our Unitarian International Partner Church in Finicut, Romania. Reverend Lazar Levente was recently in a car accident and totaled the four-wheel drive vehicle he uses to travel to the Finicut church in the country on icy roads. Luckily, Reverend Lazar is okay, but they are now needing another car so that he can get out to the Finicut church. So all of the money collected today will go towards this fund. All cash and undesignated funds that are received will go directly to our Unitarian Partner Church. Please feel free to use the QR code or Givelify app on the screen, and we will pass baskets. Thank you for sharing your monetary gifts this morning. May what you give bring you joy. Thank you for your generosity this morning. May the offering today be a blessing to our Finicut church partner and help Reverend Lazar and his wife Erica continue their ministry work at their church with a reliable mode of transportation.
So I would like to call up all of our new members since 2019, because we have not done a new member ceremony since before COVID. So there were lots of emails that went out to folks who had signed the book since then, and we have about, I think, close to 40 people that may be up here. Not everyone's present, I know, but if you have signed the book and you got that email as a new member, please come up onto our stage up here. And don't worry, if you haven't signed the book yet, you could still sign it and you'll be recognized again in the fall. We'll keep doing this. Oh yeah, if people have their out in the audience, if you have your camera phone, if you want to take a picture of everyone up here, that'd be awesome. Oh my goodness, this is incredible, y'all. Woo! So, oh, you gotta come over here. So, welcome into our Unitarian Church of Los Alamos community. And Rebecca and I have some words and some gifts to give y'all. This is awesome. Thank you for being up here. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You all have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring.
Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share.
And so you began seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to the possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Welcome home. So we have swag bags. Yeah, I'll hand out those. And Rebecca will hand out the flowers that you all will get as well. And then we will have cake over in the fellowship hall, so yes. Oh, yeah. And while we hand out these swag bags and flowers, and we'll give, anyway. We want y'all to say your name and pronouns if you like, just to introduce yourselves to this community. Say your name and pronouns if you want.
Say your name. My name is Peter Maza.
I'm Chris Maza.
Mary Sanders, she, her.
Howard Dettamore, he, him.
Paul Jomek, he, him.
Roman, he, him. Carter, he, him.
Alex Mills.
Hi, I'm Ethan Kuhn, he, him pronouns.
Krista Brelsford, she, her.
Ari. Leo. Otto.
Terra Louise, she, her.
William.
David Hite, he, him.
Jamie Colhost, he, they.
Rosemary Almy.
Marv Holme.
Rita Moazami, she, they.
Elizabeth Portillos, she, her.
Lacey Portillos, any. Jane Hite, she, her.
Shelley Weeman, she, her.
Dylan Tharpy Rally, they, them.
Aaron Anderson, he, him.
Britton, she, her.
Linda Dack, she, her.
Barb Mann. Jessica Strong, she, her.
Abel Sayre, he, him.
Robert Sayre, he, him.
Martin Sayre, he, him.
Althea Sayre, she, her. Ruth Gillis, she, her.
Anna Delane, she, her. Little person over here, Savannah Witt, she, her.
Martha Witt, she, her.
Elizabeth Burr, she, her.
Ted Burr, he, him.
Pete Hanson.
Sarah, she, her, hi.
So yes, thank you all. Let's welcome them again into our community. Thank you. Woo! And thank you for all those that signed the book back in 2019 and have been patient until today. So yes, we welcome all of you into this beloved community, and we are so grateful that you are here with us, serving with us, and collaborating with us. Also, in your swag bags, you have a newly printed You Love at the Center sticker, just saying. So you were the first to receive these fun little stickers. So yes, and please gather in community after and let us welcome them in with cake and celebration in the fellowship hall as we do our covenant work together as well. Thank you all again, and welcome into this home.
Yes.
You can be seated now.
I spilled water right here, so go that way or that way. I just don't want anybody to slip. Be careful, you guys. I sloshed water out of my vase. Yes. Trying. Oh, Thea.
We got lots of cleanup over here.
Well, I shouldn't have put as much water in there as I did, I guess. That was it. All right. I think I'm done, right?
Yeah, I think so. So during this time, you are invited to come up to our Candles of Community space over here, if you haven't already. You can light a candle and write a joy or sorrow in the book, and joys and sorrows that are written will then be read out loud. So during this time, you can also remain seated as we sing our meditation song, Spirit of Life, and we'll sing it through a couple times. So we have candles that have been lit today. For anyone with new discoveries about themselves, hopes that this new knowledge will help you grow. I hold every citizen of the world in prayer, especially the people of Ukraine. Gratitude for Mimi's incredible talent and invite to come see the play she's directing, Myths and Moonbows, the next 2 weeks. Grateful for reconnecting with a long-lost family member. Enjoying learning we have more in common than we realized. And we have a happy B-Day to Ryan Tharp Arali. And we also have a happy B-Day to Mike McNaughton today as well. Yay, so happy B-Day to both of these folks. The cake is really for him, y'all, sorry. Just kidding. May all of these prayers, joys, and sorrows, written and unwritten, spoken and unspoken, those that remain on our hearts today, be lifted up in this space together. This is a prayer and meditation by Reverend Sherry Woodbury. In our circle again, trusting the possible and reaching it together. Let us meditate and reflect on these words together. Here we are in our circle again, a circle of vision and reflection, a forum for deciding and empowering. Here we are at the base of another bridge, another space spanning the shores of today and tomorrow, beckoning us to cross the chasm one day at a time. Here we are gathered again at the cusp of the future, at the boundary that holds community together. We are here in a circle of love and trust, brought to this moment by a series of choices and promises, by hope and gratitude, by our own shadows faced and befriended. With a servant's heart, with a leader's listening, with a parent's love, truer than all our inner trembling, let us model the health we seek for all and lean into community. Somewhere out there, all we dream is possible. Somewhere in here, we are sowing the seeds. Thank you, Patrick. So why do I have to go to church? As a youth, I always asked my parents this question. Why do I have to go to church? My mom would respond, you don't have to go, you get to go. Well, that answer really didn't satisfy me in my teen years. But going to church was expected of me and my brother growing up in a household of parents who worked in the church. And well, today, I would say that going to church every Sunday rubbed off on me, and I do find a home and a sense of belonging here in our church community. So as Bill Podorski, you can wave your hand, and Kelly Shea and I did our work and study on this congregational covenant process, we enrolled in the UU Institute's covenant course online. The UU Institute is a great resource, so look it up if you want to learn more about UUism. And this covenant course had videos and readings that helped in our learning of congregational covenants. One of my UU colleagues, a retired religious educator, Annie Scott, had a video in the Institute and shared this story from when she served the UU Church in Golden, Colorado. There was a parent in that church who shared this story with Annie. And the story goes, one of their kiddos asked mom or dad, why do I have to go to church? Same question I asked when I was younger. And this parent responded, because church is where we go to grow our hearts. Annie expanded on this and said, why do we have to covenant with each other in our churches? Because covenant is how we practice growing our hearts. So this is the why of covenant. We practice growing our hearts here at church with one another by living in covenant together. Covenant and shared values is what connects us as Unitarian Universalists. We don't have a creed or a doctrine or a dogma that we follow, but we do covenant with one another because our faith is a relational faith. We have trust and faith in one another and in our community. So, what is covenant? We kind of talked about this in the Time for All Ages. It is a set of promises we make to one another. Promises that guide how we live in community with one another. It is a living agreement that is added to and changed as we spend time together, and as the world changes around us, and as our UU community changes as well. Covenants are meant to be changed. Covenanting is also putting love into action. We practice covenant and love at the center. So an example of our covenant, a covenant being changed, is the UUA's covenant. So the Unitarians and Universalists merged in 1961, and they came up with this first covenant together. In 1985, well, that's the first part of it. This is the next part of it. And in 1985, changes were made to our UUA covenant because it was dated and there was gendered language that needed to be changed. The final version had 7 principles and 5 sources. This is the 1985. These are the 7 principles that a lot of you are familiar with. And 5 sources. In 1995, so 10 years after this change to the principles, a sixth source was added: spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. So that source was added in 1995. In 2024, as we've been learning and talking about already here, our covenant changed once again to our shared values. And if you want to read more description, this is just the intro to the covenant, the UUA covenant. This is the full document of the changes, which is out on the table in the foyer. So if you haven't picked up one of these, you can do so today. Or you can pick up one of our shared values pamphlets too. It also explains our covenant. There's actually also a bylaw requirement in the UUA to look and review our covenant every 15 years. And that is Article 2 in our UUA bylaws that needs to be reviewed every 15 years. So again, covenants do change, and they should change as we grow and learn together. So as you can see by our UUA covenant, a covenant is something we come back to over and over to practice compassion, accountability, apology, forgiveness, and repair. So why do we covenant with one another? Just like I said, so we can practice all of these things, so we can practice growing our hearts, so we can practice trust. We can only learn and grow by practicing, right? If you've ever played a musical instrument or sang or done some sports, you know, practice. We gotta practice all the time, right? So that's what we're doing here in our community, is that we are gonna continue to practice living in covenant with each other. So why covenant? We create a covenant to move us toward liberation for all. Covenant is important in our communities because it teaches us as people who come from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, how to deal with the humanness we all have inside of us. Covenants help us come back to one another and the community when there has been harm to us or to another. And covenants help us prepare us for the larger work of transforming our hurting world. As we know, there's already enough division in this world, so covenant is about bringing us into relationship with one another. It is about building bridges. And covenant helps us create beloved community, braver space, and a more inclusive community together. And I wanted to put up the definition of beloved community because it might be foreign to some of us. And this definition came from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. And I'll read it. A global vision, beloved community, is a global vision in which all people can share in the wealth of the earth. In the beloved community, poverty, hunger, and homelessness will not be tolerated because international standards of human decency will not allow it. Racism and all forms of discrimination, bigotry, and prejudice will be replaced by an all-inclusive spirit. Conflicts can be resolved peacefully, and adversaries can be reconciled through a mutual, determined commitment to nonviolence. So this is the definition of beloved community of which we strive for. Another quote I really like is from Matt Chandler, who's an author in the Christian world. We've been given the covenant community because we need each other. And together, we'll be more mature experience more life, and know more joy than we ever would apart from one another. So to whom are we ethically bound? To one another. Covenant is relational work with ourselves and others. So as your minister, I took an oath that I haven't explicitly told y'all about yet. But I took an oath to do no intentional harm. I took an oath to be your minister in times of joy and sorrow. And I took an oath to listen and practice love. And as we create covenant together, I also will covenant with all of you. In the inevitable moment when covenant is broken, this is the moment we are called to bring our best selves, our compassionate selves. Practicing covenant together is called, in our UU world, right relations work. And after we have adopted this congregational covenant, the next step is to look at a right relations process for when covenant is broken. How do we call one another back into covenant in love? The UUA also has guidance for this process, and the UU Institute course, they have a course on right relations work as well. So we will be looking into that as we continue this work together. So the first covenant I learned about, and maybe some of y'all too, learned about when I was growing up in a Christian church, was the covenant God made with God's people. Now, being a UU minister, I look at covenanting as a process for recognizing the inherent worth and divine in all of us. I personally believe that we covenant with one another because we are practicing the recognition that each of us has a spark of the divine inside of us. And I believe that people are sacred and we must treat one another with compassion, love, and empathy. If we covenant to treat one another with compassion, love, and empathy, then I think we are off to a good start. Hey, maybe I'll write that phrase on our covenant worksheets in the fellowship hall, and you guys can start thinking about what you might want to write as well. What are some of the important values and ideas that you want our congregational covenant to convey? Maybe some of those values are UUA values that we were talking about. And here are some of the categories that Bill came up with, and Kelly and myself came up with when we looked at covenants from other UU churches. And also, these are what we have printed out in the fellowship hall on the tables for all of us to engage with. So right here we have the category of commit to community, and then these are some of the phrases that other covenants have used, other UU church covenants have used that speak to that category. This is another category, and there's some subcategories under it. Act lovingly. We're going to go over these again in the fellowship hall, just FYI. Communicate according to our principles, or we could even change that to be our values now, because we have value statements. Oops. Work together in community as another category. So these are, like I said, all of these slides are printed on big paper on our tables in the fellowship hall, and we will give you more instructions once we get in there, but first get food and cake. So now that I have introduced our covenant categories, let us commit to building our congregational covenant together with love in our hearts. And let us practice growing our hearts together because church is where we go to grow our hearts. May it be so, and let us create this covenant together. Please rise in body and or spirit as we commit to doing this work together and sing the fire of commitment. But not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again, which will be in the fellowship hall. So please head in there, get your food, get your cake, get something to drink, and then we'll get started in 15 minutes or so. So let us now join hands as we sing our closing song, The Way.